Hi, welcome to Freezer Meals 101. I'm Charla.
I'm Christy, and today we are talking about easy freezer meal recipes that you can make with just chicken breast. And I'm going to tell you why. We talk a lot about shopping the sales, and we are going to show you today what to do when you find that excellent sale. Now, we often talk about when we had the 2-for-1 beef strips.
Oh, yeah.
And we have an entire video on just beef strips. We should probably link it. We're going to link it
up there. But if you can get 2-for-1,
it was
like,
and beef strips,
you want to buy them all.
That saves the work for you too, because you don't even have to cut it up. They'll chop it for you at the butcher shop. It's already there in the package. So I was at the store and I'm like, Charlotte, beef strips are 2-for-1. She's like, buy them all, but leave one because we're kind. And then it's totally true. I didn't buy any. She actually went back and went to 2 different stores and bought them all, but left some because she's kind.
And I went to 2 different stores because I didn't want to buy out either store.
Yes. And so today we're doing the same thing, but with chicken breasts.
Yeah, because I mean, if you can get now chicken breasts, very unlikely you're going to find a 2-for-1 sale, but you can find some really, really good sales. And if you're watching your flyers, if sometimes you can join online groups like on Facebook
that will talk about deals all the time.
You'll see one day they'll post like such and such a store has a huge sale on chicken breasts or
start the car,
whatever.
Start the car.
And so we're going to show you today what you can do with all those chicken breasts, and the recipes that we've chosen are actually, like, even though they're all chicken, obviously, tons of variety.
Right, because before freezer meals, I would have just bought all the chicken and taken it home and put it in my freezer. A lot of times, well, especially now that I do freezer meals, if I have chicken in my freezer that's on its own, like just in the package, it takes me a long time to get to it, for starters, because we have so many meals, but also my imagination isn't always there. Yeah. If I bring it home and deal with it, I am way better off, and you're going to use those.
And it doesn't get freezer burnt the same way as if you just freeze it.
Putting it into a sauce and putting it into a proper freezer bag makes a huge difference, because yes, the really thin, the bottom part is okay because it's got that styrofoam stuff, but that top freezer.
Yeah, and then you get the crystals on there, and because you've got air in the package, and so anyway, you don't want to do that because then you saved money, but you're throwing it away, which means you wasted money. So
totally,
let's get them put into actual freezer meals, and then the work is done. So dinner's done, you don't have to worry about dinner, and you saved a ton of money. So this is like win, win, win,
it's
win,
win, win, win, win, win, win, win. It's all the things. It's all the things.
With chicken breasts, one of the things you can obviously do is marinades, and there are so many. We have so many on our website, so many, and they're all unique and different and delicious. But we're gonna put a video right there to one of those chicken marinade videos. Today, we're actually only using one recipe that's kind of along that style, because of course, we wanted to represent that.
You can find those pretty easily, but the other ones, fantastic variety.
We just wanted to represent that it doesn't have to only be a chicken marinade.
Totally.
It can be like a full meal, or because we've got some today that are a full meal. We're just gonna get into it. These Philly chicken sandwiches are really, really good, and they're simple.
Yes, they are.
But they don't taste simple. My husband has even said to me, like, what do you put in these? And I'm like, if only he knew.
Yeah, it is simple.
So in your large freezer bag, you're gonna put some chicken breasts, of course. Today we're using all boneless, skinless, so I'm not gonna say that part again. So you've got your boneless, skinless chicken breasts in your bag. And you're gonna put some green pepper that's sliced, red pepper that's sliced, some sliced onion, seasoning salt, some minced garlic, and we just use it from a jar, so it's already minced and it doesn't get any easier than that. And that is it as far as flavor. And it doesn't seem like that would have a lot of flavor, but it seriously does.
Has a lot of flavor.
And then you're going to get the air out of that bag, squish things around a little to combine, and seal it. The reason you want to get the air out is because air will cause your freezer burn. That's what we were saying earlier about the packages that have the air in them that you get from the store. That's why you're gonna get those ice crystals on them and eventually you'll get freezer burn. Then in a medium-sized bag, you're gonna put 8 slices of provolone cheese, and you're going to staple the cheese bag to the large freezer bag above the seal so you don't get leaks. On the day that you go to make this, you're gonna thaw it. You're gonna toss the ingredients from the large bag into your slow cooker. Just let that cook. You can also do it in the Instant Pot if you prefer. And then you're gonna shred the meat and put this on top of hoagie rolls. And you're gonna top each one of these with a slice of cheese. And at the very end, if you want to, you can microwave it or just broil it in the oven just for a minute or two, just to get that cheese to melt. And then you've got yourself a Philly chicken sandwich.
It is really awesome, and they are always a hit at our house. And again, it's something just kind of different that you wouldn't necessarily think to do when you come home with a pile of chicken breasts.
Totally.
No.
And these are great for, like, I find a weekend lunch. They're really good, or
Yeah.
they're good for dinner too. But I find, you know, on the weekends
It's
sometimes
a little more relaxed.
Yeah.
Nobody needs leftovers because I find they're kind of a weird one to take for a leftover.
Yeah.
Or for a lunch the next day sort of thing. And at our house that's important because my husband always takes leftovers for work. This next recipe is sheet pan chicken fajitas, or at my house, as we like to call them, air fryer chicken fajitas. You're gonna take your chicken breasts and you're gonna cut them into thin strips like you would for a fajita. We're going to add into the bag green bell pepper, red bell pepper, and it's just sliced, very simple. We don't have to do anything fancy. We're gonna add yellow pepper, some purple onion, again with the minced garlic, and we're gonna add in fajita seasoning. Now, we have made our own fajita seasoning, but you can also buy the little packets of it, and you can even buy it at Bulk Barn. It's a little different than taco seasoning, but not a whole lot different. If you have taco seasoning on hand, go ahead and use that. Like, we're not gonna gatekeep fajita seasoning. You can use whatever you have on hand and still get that awesome Mexican flavor. We're gonna add in a little bit of salt and pepper and olive oil, and we're gonna mix those around really nicely in our bag, remove that excess air, and seal it up and freeze it. So for the day of serving, you wanna let it thaw. You want to have ready your tortillas that you're going to wrap them up in, and you're gonna want your toppings. If you want, they're optional, but you want things like maybe chopped cilantro, sour cream and salsa, some guacamole, or some shredded cheese. We're going to either put them in the oven on a sheet pan at 425 for 20 minutes or so, or at our house we put them in the air fryer. Now my air fryer tops out at 400, I have the dual drawer, so I split the bag evenly between the two, and I just let her crank out for about 18 minutes because what the air fryer is really good at that I don't always find in the sheet pan is that the air fryer crisps up that chicken. You get a little bit of that colorization on it, and it's like, and you know the air fryer people out there, you know.
That makes me think about when you go to a restaurant and they bring you the fajitas on the pan.
And it's sizzling, right? Yeah. Yes. My daughter we recently did a trip to the Vancouver area for spring break, and we went to a Mexican restaurant and my daughter ordered her first fajita. And so they start bringing out all the plates, right? Like, cause you have your tortillas in the little bowl thing, and then you have your own plate, but then you have your toppings, almost like a double, or like a baked potato. They bring out those toppings. So they bring all the toppings out, and then they make room because they show up with that sizzling hot skillet with all, and
were her eyes like
they were. And then she's like, how am I gonna eat all this food? Like, 3 people could have probably eaten this. Totally. It was so good. So we did all have a little bit to try, but it is exciting. Chicken fajitas can be exciting. So we said before, when you find out about the sale and you buy all the chicken and then you think, what the heck am I gonna do with all this chicken? You start searching for recipes, you stumble onto our website, and you're thinking, oh, these ladies know what they're talking about. And we have, because we have made over 5,000 freezer meals. We've been doing this for over a decade. So when you get to that realization, I want you to think about our Freezer Meals 101 Club. And the reason why is because right in the Freezer Meals 101 Club, it has filters and you can say, oh, chicken, and it will bring up all the chicken recipes. You could add another filter and say, I'm only gonna do crock-pot recipes. So you could add in crock-pot to your filter. And so all of the recipes below are going to be awesome ones that are gonna have an incredible amount of variety. You can make a meal plan with the ones that you choose, and then it's gonna give you a shopping list, then it's gonna give you a prep list, and you can print some labels. And that is what the Freezer Meals 101 Club will do for you. Because otherwise, do you know what you're going to do? You're gonna find all of your recipes, you're going to have to sit down and make tally marks and decide how many onions you need to buy, and you have to know how many you need to chop and how many you need to dice and how many peppers you need to do this with, and and we take out all of the guesswork, and bam, it's right there, it's concrete, it's on paper for you. You can print it, go to the store and get the rest of your groceries.
It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Like,
it does not have to be overwhelming. So you come home, you do your prep, you make your meals, you go to bed.
Slap the label on it.
Slap the label on it, knowing that you have, 10, 15, maybe 20 meals in your freezer that you didn't have when you left the house that morning, right? We can make it that easy for you.
And the awesome thing is, so you've got your sale on chicken, right? Well, then you happen to find a sale the following week on beef strips. And like we said, we did that beef strips video because that's how many recipes we have with the beef strips. So then you do an afternoon of assembling your beef recipes and you double all of them so that, and then ground beef. We have a newish video. It's pretty new. I'm gonna put the link right there, and it's all ground beef. It is specifically for if you find that ground beef sale.
Totally. And when you find a sale in ground beef, so many people, you easily can just buy pounds and pounds and pounds of it and take it home. But if you don't do anything with it, that's the tricky part.
Yes. So, because we don't want you to eat chicken every day. We're very excited for you that you found this sale on chicken. We are excited for you. But we don't want you to eat chicken every day. Even though we've given you a ton of variety with these recipes, we want you to mix up your protein a little bit.
Totally.
We also have lots of vegetarian recipes.
Yes, and we have fish recipes. There's like apple crisp in there. There's everything. If you find a sale on apples, you can make apple crisp all day. But listen, it really is a great thing to do for yourself. We have a yearly fee for our subscription, but we have recently added a monthly option. It's a little bit more of a bite-sized taste of our subscription. You get the full subscription, it's just a month at a time.
This next one is one of my favorites. Our family loves this, and actually recently we had done some other chicken recipes and we just had 2 chicken breasts left over. It was one of those situations where it was either I bought too many or too few, and so I bought too many, purposely knowing I've got lots of things I can do with extra chicken. And so we just made it with 2 chicken breasts, which is obviously less than the recipe calls for, and we ran out, of course, because we have a big family. And so we were kind of I did it as a lunch, and I was not advertising the fact that
there was less chicken
there was food.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't call all my kids up because it's lunch and they can, they're older and they can make their own lunch.
Of course they can.
And so I was just sort of, whoever happened to be on the main floor at that time, and we totally ran out, without even.
Oh, and you can smell it through the house. It's barbecue shredded chicken. We haven't told you what it is yet. It's barbecue shredded chicken. You can smell it through the house. You know so when that sucker is ready because people start just milling around the kitchen because it's in the crock pot, right?
Oh, it's so good.
It is so good.
Normally, we serve it on buns with garlic mayo. Christy gave me this really simple recipe for...
Okay, garlic mayo is mayo. You add in your minced garlic, which we do out of the jar, like we said, but you can press fresh garlic into it. Salt and pepper and a little squeeze of lemon juice. Mix it in, let it sit for 20.
That's it.
You can do the same thing if you're having roast beef. You can do the same thing with horseradish instead of garlic.
Oh yeah, that would
be have horseradish
really
mayo.
Oh, that would be good.
Oh, it's good.
Normally we have it with that and coleslaw, but this time none of the stores in our area had coleslaw.
Oh, and funny.
Yes, I do know I could have bought cabbage.
I almost always have cabbage at my house, which is a weird thing. So if you're ever out of coleslaw, let me know.
Okay.
I almost always have cabbage at my house.
Christy's my neighbor 2 doors that way, in case you haven't seen us before and don't know that.
She always has jalapenos and avocados. I always have cabbage. So weird.
So we often like phone each other and are like,
yeah.
Can you send a kid over to
Totally.
pick up this or that? Anyway, so it's very handy having neighbors.
Do you remember asking me if you had cocktail sauce? And
Yes.
I'm like, I don't have cocktail sauce. Do you have horseradish?
Yeah, and she's like, you can make it.
It's horseradish and ketchup, a little bit of salt and pepper and some lemon juice. And that's cocktail sauce.
I totally did.
And it worked.
And it was delicious. So.
I blew your daughter's mind that day. That was the funniest part. She's like, Mrs. Wines knows everything. And I'm like, you write that down.
When
please.
it comes to food, you kind of do.
I know a lot about a lot. I'm always learning. Like, I've been cooking for a long time, but
Yes.
I am still always learning all kinds of things because I find it interesting.
Yes, you and your like meat thermometer.
Me and my meat
You're,
thermometer.
Like, just off the top of
I
your
used
head,
it in
like,
a cake.
this is
Did you know that cake should be cooked to about 200 degrees?
no.
Because that is just the point before it boils, where it's cooked, but it hasn't released the moisture.
Okay. Who knew?
Once it's 212, it's too late.
I didn't know.
Because
I
it's boiling.
did not know this.
Because then it's boiling and you're losing your steam out of your cake.
Okay. So then it's dry.
Yeah. So if you do it, if you pull it at like 195 and everything cooks when you take it out of the oven, it still continues to cook for a few minutes as it's cooling, which is an irony.
Right.
But it still cooks a little bit. But yeah.
See what I mean about her brain?
Hey, our brains are both awesome. Neither of them do math, but they both come up with some really interesting things. Can you
It's
just
true.
tell them about the barbecue shredded chicken? Sorry.
So
we're
not sorry.
not sorry.
We even though we get to see each other all the time, we always have lots to talk about.
It's totally true. And she's like,
And you
she
have to
used a meat
listen to
thermometer on her cake. Anyway.
Okay, so in your large freezer bag, you're going to put those chicken breasts that you got on sale, and you're gonna add some finely minced onion, some garlic cloves that are minced, again from your jar, some barbecue sauce, and apple cider vinegar. Now, just gonna mention that we like to add a little bit, like just a splash of the apple cider vinegar into our empty barbecue sauce bottle and give it a shake, because then you're not wasting any of that barbecue sauce and you're rinsing out your bottle, and it's just, everybody wins. So you're going to squish that all around to combine it, get out the excess air, freeze it, and on the day you go to cook it, you are going to put it in your slow cooker and shred it, and that's it. You're gonna have it on buns, like we said, with the garlic mayo, the coleslaw, or whatever. Some people like, in my family, if we happen to have potato chips, they like to put that on there too.
Oh.
Then
on the
you-
bun?
Yeah, then you get crunch.
Haven't you ever put a potato chip on a burger?
No, but I've seen people do it.
Yeah. Or in a hot dog? Totally.
that's-
that makes sense. I like that.
So there's my barbecue shredded chicken that I love. When you're doing this big session of chicken, if you really want to take advantage of that sale, then you could double each of these recipes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
add 2 of them,
Of
or
course.
quadruple them if you have a favorite. But one of the things you also want to think about when you're choosing recipes is to choose things that have like ingredients. So in those Philly chicken sandwiches and the chicken fajitas, they both had the sliced peppers. And it's both had sliced onion. One was purple onion, one was white. You could, mix and match if you really wanted to. But point is that if you're going to be chopping peppers anyway or slicing peppers anyway, you might as well just do more. It doesn't take you a whole lot longer. Plus, if you happen to get a sale on peppers, and there is a sale on peppers today.
Oh, that's
today
right.
only. $1.49 for a pack of 3 peppers.
And sometimes that pack is like $5 or $6.
Absolutely.
No,
Or
we're in
$6.99
Canada. If you
for-
don't know, we're in Canada. Prices are higher here than you would find in the States.
Well, then some states. They're apparently comparable for some. So
Yes, I suppose that's true. So, but that is a steal of a deal. So this particular grocery store has been doing these throwback prices.
yeah.
Just to get people in the door, and it is working. You go on these days, and people are swarming.
It's
and,
true.
Good for them, I guess. Good for us, if you can take advantage of it. And, you can take advantage of it.
I'm totally going later today to get the $1.49 pack of peppers, and they have $1.49 craft dressing, and we use sometimes we use
and I just have
dressing in our
a lot of dressing at my house anyway. Like
recipes.
I'm big on ranch for dipping my vegetables and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few things that I'm going to be
nice.
Colgate toothpaste, which is not my usual brand, but
what there was one other
the
thing
kids can use it
that was on that list that I thought, and I want to say it was like chicken burger or chicken hot dogs or something weird that I'm like,
it is
Charlotte is not going to buy that.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's chicken hot dogs.
I love hot dogs. You know, when you're pregnant and they're like, pregnant for the nitrates, pregnant women should not eat more than 12 hot dogs a month.
Yeah.
And you're like, who is eating 12 hot dogs a month? Normally I'm not, but when I was pregnant, I could have. And especially then once it's on the list of like, you shouldn't, then you're like, oh, I want that. And I could eat a hot dog any day. I would take it over a hamburger almost every time. I do love hot dogs. So I'm like half tempted. I might give you $1.50 to go get me a pack of chicken hot dogs. This next one is baked Caesar chicken. And when we first started making it, we made it in the tray, in the foil tray, so that it was all prepared. And it's very, very good. It's very tangy. It has Caesar dressing on it, which is like, really? But yes, I promise it is really good. But we found it was simpler. Sometimes we try it out. Can this go in a bag? Does it have to be in a tray? Because when we make freezer meals on the level that we do, room in your freezer is a real issue. And so we're like, okay, let's see if we can get this sucker in a bag and if it's still good. And it is. In our bag, we are going to add in our boneless, skinless chicken breasts, a little bit of pepper. We're going to add in our Caesar dressing, our sour cream, and a little bit of Parmesan, but then we're going to put extra Parmesan in another medium-sized bag that we're going to seal up and save for the day of cooking. We're going to mix all these around together. We're going to seal up our bag and staple our bags together and then freeze it. So for the day of cooking, you want to put this into a baking dish, get all of that creamy goodness out of the bag, and go ahead and throw it into your oven, 375 for 45-50 minutes, or use your meat thermometer to tell when it's done. And then you want to add in your Parmesan cheese and put it under your broiler and just give it a good broil and let it get bubbly, and it'll crisp up and get a little bit dark. And then you can serve it with pasta, you could serve this with rice, you could serve this with potatoes. Anything would go really, really well with this chicken. A little bit of asparagus.
Oh, that would be good.
That would be nice.
For this, you don't want to use, like earlier when I was saying that we're having the $1.49 sale on the craft dressing, you don't want to use that Caesar dressing for this. You want to use
the fancy one from,
in your produce section where the salad bags are.
Yeah.
You want to go and get that nice, like in
it's
a
a
jar.
fresh Caesar.
Yeah. It's like that creamy Caesar dressing, and you can get it with extra garlic or not. Like there's a few little varieties there, and if you want to fancy it up, you can. But this is a good one.
It totally is.
I really like this chicken cacciatore recipe because it's super simple. It's only 5 ingredients, but it doesn't seem like it's only 5 ingredients.
No, right?
Yum. So into your large freezer bag, you're going to add those chicken breasts, and then you're going to add a jar of pasta sauce, or you can use the red sauce, and you can find that recipe in the club. Then you're going to add some coarsely chopped zucchini, some chopped onion, and Italian seasoning. Again, getting your air out, sealing that bag up, freezing it, and then on the day that you go to cook this, you thaw it, or you get it thawed enough that it can go in your slow cooker, and dump that into your crock pot, heat it up, and then you can serve this on top of pasta. You can sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on at the end if you want. It's just really, really good because it's kind of a full meal, other than maybe you want to add that carb with the pasta. But you've got your zucchini in there and your tomato sauce, so your veggies are covered and your protein is covered, and it's just really good.
I can tell that you really love this recipe.
I just think it does not taste like a 5-ingredient
Totally.
recipe.
No,
Like,
you're right.
when you eat this,
Mhm.
this is like, you could serve this to people.
I've
It's
served
not
this to people.
one of our fanciest, but you could serve this to people.
You totally could. And it's not your typical freezer meal.
No, and
No.
people are not going to think like, oh, that took them 4 minutes to put together. But it did.
It did. It really did.
Maybe with your chopping, it took you 8 minutes.
That's totally true.
Right?
Yeah. This next recipe is cilantro lime chicken. We are going to start out cubing our chicken breast. So while we have previously sliced up into chicken strips for our fajitas, this one is going to be cubed. Now, if you are out of time and you can put them in whole and shred it at the end because it's going to go in the slow cooker.
We've often done it that way.
We've totally done it that way too. Even if it's in the oven, you can still shred chicken that's been in the oven. But, you know, if you're feeling up to it and you got some time, go ahead and cube your chicken. We're going to start out with some olive oil, lime juice, some cilantro, obviously, if this is cilantro lime chicken and the lime juice there. We're also going to add in garlic, black beans that have been rinsed and drained, and kernel corn that's been drained. We're going to add in some minced purple onion and chipotle spice, a little dash of salt and pepper, and we're done. It was a lot more ingredients, but it was still really simple. Like, I would call this a dump recipe.
Yep.
Because really, you are dumping it all in, and then you are dumping it into your crock pot on the day of cooking. On the day of cooking, you do want to let it thaw somewhat, at least, to get it into your slow cooker. I prefer to fully thaw my dishes before I cook them. Into your slow cooker on low for 4 or 5 hours. You are going to want to eat this with the tortillas. It would be really nice. How would you feel about this on nachos, Miss Nacho Lady?
No, because I mean the rest of it, yes, like the black beans, the corn, all those seasonings, like yum on nachos. We sometimes put the mixture for our black bean and corn enchiladas, which also has some lime juice, and that one's got a can of green chilies, and it's got the corn and black beans. Like, we put that on nachos sometimes when we have a little bit of leftovers after filling our enchiladas, but this, I feel like the chicken is too, like, if you shredded it, maybe, but like the cubes, like the 1-inch cubes, that's too big for on nachos. That's like your whole, like the whole bite.
But totally
like
fine to put it into, I think you could eat this on rice if you didn't want to do tortillas.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
you really could. So put it in tortillas. You're going to do the same sort of things like you would for the fajitas, where you're going to have like the guacamole or the salsa, the sour cream, the shredded cheese. You could do any of those things and it would be delicious.
You could put these in taco shells. Like, that's kind of the same idea as the nachos, but it just, to me, makes more sense.
Hands up if you are a hard taco shell family, or hands up if you are a soft taco shell family.
We're kind of both.
We are kind of both too.
We always serve with both and give everyone the option, but this is what our kids do. Like, it started with one kid, and now it has grown, and now my husband's doing it too. So it's actually kind of interesting, but what they do is they do a hard shell taco, and they fill it with all the taco ingredients. So, I mean, different than this, but, you know, you've got your whatever. We've got lots of different, because of the freezer meals,
we've got a lot of different
taco options.
Yeah.
But you've got your taco fillings, right? And then they wrap the hard shell taco in a soft flour tortilla. That way, you know how when you're eating your hard shell taco, like, it breaks and crumbles and you lose
but it
some
catches
of it? It catches it in the soft, and then you get the soft, the benefit of the soft, right? But you get the crunch of the hard. And so I haven't graduated to that yet, but that's how most of the people in our family eat tacos.
That's really interesting. Okay, it reminds me of an old SNL skit from like 10 years ago, and it was Andy Samberg and Bill Hader, and it was at one of their fake commercials that SNL would do, and it was at like taco time, and they would wrap the taco with the soft taco, but then they wanted to make it even bigger, so they would wrap it in a pita, and they wanted to make it even bigger, and they'd wrap it in naan, and they wanted to make it even bigger, and they wrapped it in a pizza, and then they put it in a bag, and they dumped salsa on top of it, and they're like, Taco Town! That's where my mind, when you were like, we wrap it in the soft taco. We do soft tacos if it's like a fish taco or a shrimp taco, and we do
Okay.
hard tacos if it's crumbly, like beef or
Those ground chicken tacos.
the ground chicken
yeah.
tacos. Yeah, isn't that funny what we do? All right. This last recipe is probably one of my all-time favorites. It is lemon mustard chicken. It's up there with lemon pepper chicken for me. To me, the two of those are like my favorite freezer meal
You can
chicken.
never decide.
I can never decide. And so whichever one you put in front of me, that is my favorite that day. And that is totally okay. So this can be made, we often make this one with boneless, skinless chicken thighs, but it easily can be made with chicken breasts. So you want 4 to 6 of them, like 2 pounds-ish of chicken breasts. So in our bag, we are going to just put all the ingredients in. We have honey that's been melted, some Dijon mustard, the grainier the better in my opinion, but if that's not what you have, that's okay. Lemon juice, lemon pepper, Italian seasoning, and a little bit of cayenne pepper. Not a whole lot, just enough for a little kick. This is not spicy, this is just very flavorful. And we are going to throw it all in there, mix it around, let it marinate, get all your excess air out, seal it up, and freeze. On the day of cooking, you want to thaw this one. Like I said before, I do like to thaw everything all the way through. Bake at 350 for an hour covered, and then 10 minutes of that you want uncovered. Again, I would probably check it with my meat thermometer partway through because I care about these things really badly right now. It's just a phase. I'll probably not care in another year. And this is also a nice one for the slow cooker if you have a lot on the go and you just need to get it cooked.
You could probably do it in the air fryer.
Not as a chicken breast. Like that is...
I don't have an air fryer. So Christy has an air fryer. We've done actually 2 air fryer videos, like
we
freezer
totally
and air
have.
fryer.
Yeah.
I obviously know nothing about how air fryers work.
So my air fryer has a bake function.
Right.
Where it isn't swirling the air around. I could totally do these. Your air fryer is basically a small oven that sits on your countertop, right? It's a glorified toaster oven. I don't know. It's more complicated than that. But the chicken breast would be a little thick in my opinion. You would dry out the edges outside before you got it cooked all the way through.
No air fryer. But you could do it in the skillet.
Hey, if you could totally do this in the skillet. I have absolutely done this in the skillet. And in fact, if it's thighs, I almost exclusively do it in the skillet. Because I am a skillet cooker. I just really prefer it. And it cooks a little, and actually you can barbecue these too. Like these are, for being the boring one with the marinade, these are really versatile and they are delicious.
So that is a lot of variety.
That is a lot of chicken. Like I want to say,
that's a lot of chicken.
like how many recipes was that? That was 8?
That's 7.
7 recipes of just chicken breasts.
But all so different.
So different.
Yeah.
It was really great.
So we're going to put a video right there to those ground beef freezer meals because then you can pair these chicken ones with those ground beef ones and have, like, if you doubled each, then you have a month's worth of meals in your freezer.
Totally.
And you never have to think about dinner again, which is our favorite thing about
That is
freezer
our
cooking.
favorite thing about freezer cooking. Absolutely. We are so glad that you joined us today, and I hope you just click through and keep finding more videos because we have lots to show you.
Happy cooking.